Be sure to visit my Facebook group, HollywoodShono Gaming, for the latest gaming needs. Also, check out my Twitch at HollywoodShono and my HollywoodShono YouTube live streams for all premieres of past live streams on Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, shit of all ages, HollywoodShono, about to try something different, and we're going to do a Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra gameplay test video alongside of a Steam Deck FPS testing video. Now here we're using the built-in benchmark for Borderlands 3, and we're doing a little bit of gameplay on the badass setting as well as the lowest setting to possibly obtain 120 frames per second while at 1920 by 1080p. So this is the default benchmarking. I imagine this is on badass setting. I'm not exactly sure. It looks amazing regardless of what setting it's on. And I just want to show you guys what the game looks like if you buy a Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra. Now the variant of the Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra that I'm using is the i9 13900H with 32 gigs of RAM. And a built-in 1 terabyte SSD, but that really doesn't matter as long as it's Gen 4. And I also keep at least 10% of my storage free, that way it doesn't bottleneck or slow down performance. And I have my webcam off to the left. That way, you guys can see all the FPS data on the right. I couldn't use MSI Afterburner, but I am using the GeForce Experience built-in FPS counter, which I find works good enough. And you can see it's basically maxed out the GPU utilization. However, the CPU is only at about 20%, so it could definitely handle it pretty well. Rendering latency is about 14 to 16 frames. So there you can see my settings here on DirectX 11. And full screen 16 by 9, 1920 by 1080p. VSync is off, resolution is 100%. Unlimited frames over 144 doesn't really matter because it's a 120 hertz display. So let's go play, and we're going to load up our main character here. And we're going to play for a couple minutes on badass settings, and then we're also going to do the same on the Steam Deck.
Been a while since I did a spot of bounty hunting. Good to get back in the
Okay, so you can see in badass settings, I'm getting between 50 and 80 FPS. Very respectable frame rates. Let me reset up a pro with this game though. Okay, so I've been knocked down. Bunch of grenades getting thrown at me. Okay, so I've been knocked out again. Can we kill the blunderer before I get knocked out? Yes, we can. Good, your poison damage there. Let's get rid of the VP mug. Alright. And we have stabilized. Yeah, very good experience at 1080p. I've not tested this at 1440p or 4K. I'll plan to until I get out of combat somewhat. There are a lot of enemies here. another small bit of a dip there, but yeah. Shotgun always doing work. Alright, so now let's test out the settings. Let's put the settings at high. Let's see what type of resolution we get. Alright, not quite 120. Let's try medium and see what type of resolution. Oh yeah. Still not quite 120, but we'll deal with it. Alright, now let's turn things up, and we can't actually turn it up. Let's actually go back to Badass. Alright, so the resolution scale at 200 does make it slow down. I don't know why you would want it at 200%, but still playable at 30 FPS. No problem whatsoever there. Yeah, Borderlands 3 plays great. And really, games at 30 FPS are definitely still playable. Even if it's not the greatest experience, it works. So yeah, even at 200% resolution, Galaxy Book Ultra can handle it. Now, what would happen if I turn the resolution to, let's say, 50%? Alright, you can see almost at doesn't even look that much different from 100%, so that's kind of weird. The graphics obviously don't look as clean. And yeah, normal resolution, even at Badass, still getting 95 to 100 FPS. So yeah, Galaxy Book Ultra definitely plays this game well. Okay, now we're going to run Borderlands 3 in 4K. And why are we going to run this in 4K? Well, because number one, I can. And number two, if you own a Galaxy Book Ultra and you have a 4K Elgato, some of you guys are going to be curious about the performance. So I'm going to shed some light on that. So once again, I'm going to move my camera to the left so you guys can see all the FPS. And is this worth actually doing? Probably not. You probably want to stay at 1080p. But there might be somebody that prefers to play in 4K. And you need to know, is it worth actually doing this? So we're going to run some tests at 4K, the native resolution, and 1440p on top of 1080p. That way you get all the resolutions. Now I have the desktop scaled at 3840 by 2160 because I have an Elgato 4K. And let's see what type of performance we get playing this game at this resolution. Obviously, in this menu, the frame rate is going to be way higher. Alright, so let's dial our expectations low. Let's make sure it's at 100%. It is not. Okay. So let's start at low. Let's start at low. And we're going to go all the way up. 30, 40. So you don't even get that option. Alright, so this is 4K at low settings that we're going to start out at. And then we're going to gradually go up from there. Okay. So, gameplay looks great. Frame rate is definitely... He just blew himself up. Alright, so getting about 74 FPS in 4K. I thought he suicided himself. Apparently not. Alright. So getting around 60 FPS on the low in 4K. Is it worth playing low in 4K? No. Probably gonna die here in a moment. Okay. So let's try high now. Okay, frame rate is definitely dipping now. Now we're getting about 30 FPS if we're playing 4K high. A little over 30. Alright. Now let's see what happens on Badass. Okay, so almost 30 FPS. I mean, do you really want to play this in 30? No, you want to play as close to 120 as you can. So yeah, showing about 28, 29 FPS. So, not much difference between Badass and high. So now, let's put the resolution on 16 by 10, and let's put it at the native resolution of 2880 by 1800, and let's see how everything looks. So we're going to start at high. So you can see getting about 49, 50 FPS, and it looks pretty damn good. And this is on the native resolution for the Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra, the i9 version with 32 gigs of RAM. Okay, now let's go all the way to low. Alright, now looking to get about 80 to 92 roughly, depending on... Oh yeah. And of course I didn't get up in time. Yeah, very playable at native resolution on low. You can see it's getting between 70 and 100. Pretty damn good. A lot of money to revive, but we don't need money. Everything's maxed. Alright, so what happens if we put it on Badass? Looks like between 26 and 47 frames a second. Yeah, it looks great. Looks gorgeous. Is it practical? No, because you want at least 60 FPS for a shooter. But it does look amazing. Okay, so we've tried at that resolution. Now what does it look like at 2560 by 1440? So we're going to put it back to 16 by 9. And let's apply. So Badass at 1440p is between 30 and 60. Pretty respectable. You could definitely play this game in 1440p. You might want to tone it down 1 or 2 settings from Badass. Definitely playable though. Probably haven't gotten a legendary yet, but maybe I'm not. Alright, so that's the resolution at 1440p. Now what happens if we put it all the way down? Very low. Okay. Looking to be about 108, 109. It still doesn't look that terrible, even at low. Now we do have the resolution at 100%. Base resolution is 90. Again, I just want to show off some of the quality. Now what happens when we put it at 720p? Oh yeah, it definitely hits 120 FPS. I'm surprised that it's only hitting about 123. That's at very low. What about maxed out? So even maxed out, it's getting between 39 and about 80, 90. Doesn't seem like that much of a difference. Like 110, 115, very respectable. I don't really see a difference between 60 and 120. Some people swear by it. I don't. So now let's go all the way back to 4K. Let's put the field of view up to 110. And we're at Badass. Let's put the resolution scale all the way up. This is probably going to be terrible. Oh my god, it's not even moving. Yeah. You probably shouldn't do this. Not on here. We're not even getting frame rates. Now, let's take over the Steam Deck and you guys can see what that looks like. But pretty interesting stuff. At 4K, definitely playable. You probably want to stick to 1440p though when playing this on the Galaxy Book Ultra. Let's head over to the Steam Deck and you guys can see performance there. Alright, so now we are on the Steam Deck loading everything up. As you can see, a solid 60 FPS. The Steam Deck is only capable of 60 FPS. However, the Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra is capable of 120 frames per second. Now, it is going to take a minute to process shaders, and when we actually get back to the game, we'll follow back up with this. Alright, so we finally have the Steam Deck loaded up into Borderlands, and let's get back into the Spendopticon and do some more gameplay and show you guys what I'm capable of. Now, this is going to obviously take a lot longer to load in because it is the Steam Deck and the resources are not quite as plentiful as on the Galaxy Book Ultra. So set your expectations lower. And again, if the game runs in at least 30 FPS, it's acceptable. Okay, so this is about 40, quite a bit of stuttering. Definitely not nearly as smooth. Let's try some combat. Blew me up. Luckily, the amount of damage I can put out, it's pretty easy to get back up. get a second win. And yeah, there you can see we cleared the area up. But you can see gameplay definitely not nearly as crisp. Does work though. And honestly, that's what matters. So we have DirectX 12 on. Windowed borderless 16 by 9, 1280 by 720. VSync is off. Resolution is at 100%. Field of view is at 90. Vehicle field of view is at 90. So if we put it back at 100. There we go. So we have it at medium. Let's see what happens when we put it at low. Okay, looks like frame rates are pretty much a static 60. The game does run really well on the Steam Deck. You're not going to get the greatest graphics like you can on the Galaxy Book Ultra. But yeah, as far as gameplay goes, you're not going to be disappointed with this. At all. Now I don't dare try to play this on Badass. Still always love the shotguns in Borderlands 2. Some amazing shotguns. The lob is great. One I'm using does massive damage when I can actually hit the damn shit. Alright, so that is the lowest settings, and you can see it runs great. What happens if we try it very low? Alright, so if we put it on Ultra, it looks like we don't even get 30 FPS. Yeah, I don't even want to try Badass. So I definitely think staying away from Ultra, going maybe high at best. If you don't care about frame rates as well. Even the graphics still does not look that great here. Compared to the Samsung Galaxy Book Ultra. You're definitely missing out on textures. Game does work though. And yeah, do you want to play this in less than 30 FPS? I don't think so. But it is doable. Now for testing, I'm using a PlayStation 5 controller right on my Steam Deck Bluetooth. And on my Galaxy Book Ultra, I'm using the 8BitDo green controller, which looks amazing, the clear green controller. Both of these have links in the description down below for purchase. So what happens if I try to play this on Badass? How... Okay, that's weird. It doesn't seem like much of a difference. It's still getting about 27, 28 FPS, which is mind-boggling. I imagine once we get into a fight, it's going to be quite a bit lower. I'd like to before I actually stop this video. Maybe I can get up here. Yeah. It is really dark on the Steam Deck. I can't see a thing. Bad, you can't even see the doorway.
Want a tangle? Name's Trent, the slut. Word on the loot tube is that you're looking for Ember. Better bring a burn suit, baby. She's even more fiery than usual these days. Pretty boy's been squeezing all of us hard, and not in the good way. That shiny hunk over there, just tell it Trent the slut sent you.
Yeah, you can see the FPS has dipped considerably in Badass. About 24 FPS or less. Definitely makes it harder to play. You're under 30. Still able to take out the armored pillager though.
Right there.
Connection to the online server somehow got lost. Alright, but that is basically Borderlands 3 gameplay in a nutshell. So yeah, dial your expectations down playing on Steam Deck, and you'll be just fine. And there you can see Borderlands 3 running on the Steam Deck. Frame rate not that great. But yeah, if you tone it down to like low or medium, you should be okay. But yeah, even at medium, we're getting 60 FPS. So what's the next game you guys want to see? Let me know down in the comments below. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!
I'm better than you, and you know it.